All right. Let me send a link in Discord. We are live on YouTube. So while we start real quick, Ron, I'll give you like a minute to introduce yourself to the people that don't know who you are, and then we'll transition into Martin and then go into gold.
Okay, well, I'm Ron. This is Ron's Basement YouTube channel, Twitter profile as well. I spent 3 years building a gold and silver focused YouTube channel. And back in December, as an experiment, initially, I started a meme coin called Unicorn Fart Dust, which took off. And since that was my creation, and I felt the responsibility and kind of a transformation that I went through. I've been focused primarily here over the last 9 weeks on Unicorn Fart Dust UFD, the meme coin, although I still keep a close eye on what's going on in the gold and silver market. It's my opinion that crypto and the gold and silver market share a lot in common. There's a lot of commonalities within the markets and a lot of commonalities with the investors in terms of why they choose to buy crypto or why they choose to buy silver and gold. So thank you for having me here, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for having me, Tommy. Thank you, Ron. Kudos on the unicorn fart dust. Tremendous. Gold load, tokenized silver and gold. Putting it onto the blockchain, democratizing silver and gold for billions of people around the world via an app. Send, spend, and store gold for the masses for the first time ever. It's a simple concept. Obviously, a lot of technology behind it, smart contracts, keeping it decentralized. And the times now, people understand value. They've seen currency devaluation. The whole world suffers incredible currency devaluation unless you're on the dollar, and also inflation. It's been a massive problem. 76% of all dollars ever printed have been done in the last 4 years. There's a problem. So gold, silver, the oldest form of money. I think people are waking up to it. A little bit difficult to use as a currency, but it's now possible with technology. So that's what we're pushing out there. And obviously, people are catching on to this. We've seen a great demand for gold, the price. Silver's moving on price. But gold, I think there's about 1,000 times more paper gold ETFs in the world than there is physical, and we've seen some issues with that in the last number of weeks with the LBMA. I know Ron's probably got some comments on the LBMA in London, and going from 2 days to 8 weeks. 8 weeks is a long time to wait for the gold that you thought was going to be in your hands in 2 days. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, well, I just think it appears to me that there's a lot of dynamic changes going on within the gold and the silver markets right now. I haven't been able to follow it on a micro level like I had in the past, but I'm following the headlines. And for 3 years, I followed what was going on in the precious metals markets, and it does feel it feels like things are coming to a head. Martin, is the way I would describe it. And I want to touch on one thing you said, and then hand the floor back to you, because I think you are much more up to speed in terms of what's happening. But I think it's important for our listener to understand. You talked about the dollar being printed and the whole fiat money argument. I think a critical thing for people to understand is that whether you're talking about gold, silver, unicorn fart dust, Bitcoin, these are generally things that have a limited, finite supply level. Sure, there's more gold being mined every year. Sure, there's a small amount of Bitcoin being mined every year. UFD happens to have a cap at 999 million tokens out there. But when on the other side, when you're measuring it in fiat currency, I think it's so critical for people to understand that all of those currencies are kind of devaluing in together at the same time. People will look and say, "Oh, the dollar's strong, the dollar's going up," and it's like, well, if the dollar's really that strong, why is the dollar index, which is what a lot of people use to measure it, why is it similar to where it was 20 years ago? However, if I go to the grocery store, the paper dollar that I use here, only buys me a third of the groceries that it did 20 years ago. There's this kind of simultaneous, it's like a seesaw comparing the value of the dollar to, let's say, the euro or the yen, but it's a seesaw that's like slowly sinking into the ground due to currency devaluation.
Agreed. I mean, symbol is, if I'm talking to a 10-year-old, it's like, hey, you know what a yo-yo is? Yeah. It's a yo-yo, and you're walking downstairs. Downstairs, it's up and down, but you're going down.
Yeah, right.
It's a simple analogy. A 10-year-old gets it. Technology, Amazon Fresh, for example, you put an order in, you order the same groceries. Go back 2 years and press the button and see what the order was then. Go back 3 years and see what that same order is today. It's changed dramatically. And that, my friend, look, who gets taught finance in school? They don't teach finance in school. They don't teach you what interest payments are on a credit card. Oh, I've got $10,000 on a credit card. Look at the interest rate on the thing. I mean, it's sort of, and that's not just school level, high school level. It can be university level. People don't understand what interest is, and it's problematic. And you're right. I mean, I think the dollar, since its inception, has lost about 98% of its value. I mean, it's dramatic.
But it's just common sense that anything that is supposed to hold value, whether it's a baseball card or a dollar or anything that is supposed to hold value, that if more of it is able to be created, it's going to be dilutive. And like you said earlier, 70% of the dollars that have been created in the last X, whatever the number is, right? I mean, if anything that can be printed or electronically reproduced, it'd be like if I was a sports star and I promised the world that I was only going to sign 100 autographs, and then 5 years later I needed more money and I decided to sign 100 more autographs. It dilutes. So.
It's a I mean, and so I think there's been a couple of generations that have not really understood precious metals and their values and how they hold value. We're putting as a company, we put out ads showing Canadian dollar, US dollar, the euro, the British pound, the Swiss franc, the Mexican peso, and some of the obviously more developing countries have much higher spreads on this. And so silver and gold far outstrips their fiat currency and holding them. And now we've got a practical method through Lowe's that you can actually hold them in a digital form and they increase in value. Some exciting news we were touching on earlier. China is now authorizing 10 of their insurance companies. Now, obviously, anything in China has got massive numbers, massive user bases. So 10 insurance companies in China, 1.5 billion people population, are going to experiment with letting them put assets up to 10% in gold. Yeah. That is a phenomenally huge number of people going to be able to be exposed to gold for the first time. We're doing some numbers. We're crunching some numbers with some of our interns to see where that's going to play out. But it's going to be over 30,000 an ounce on user numbers if they take that mandate and go forward. Now, who doesn't like gold like the Chinese? The Indian population probably is. It's very level. India loves gold. China loves gold. I mean, the population loves gold. Who's going to say, no, I do not want my insurance policy held 10% of it in gold?
Yeah,
it's going to happen. So where is gold going to be this time next year? Wow.
Yeah. I want to touch on something about China and India. You said this. I used the number 1.4 billion, but it's my understanding there's 1.4, 1.5 billion people in China. There's also 1.4 billion people, as I understand it, in India. Both of those cultures, gold and silver ownership are much more like enmeshed within their culture. I know a lot of Indian people here where I live, and they all love gold and silver. And when you think about the fact that those populations are combined almost 10 times that of the United States, and that they're also the two of the economies in the world, especially, I mean, China, we know what they've done economically, but the Indian economy is growing like crazy. And you've got like tens of millions of Indian people every year that are moving into what's called the consumer class, where they now have, I mean, it's crazy just looking at that alone. And it's just part of their culture to own precious metals, to not trust paper money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it just moved. Yeah, to not trust paper money. Their economies are booming. I mean, I think I've seen numbers that I think India's economy will cross over China's in 2035, 2040 or something. Yeah. I mean, it's massive population growth. China's population is decreasing because of their one-child policy and that knock-on effect. Two massive economies that love precious metals. I think it's a given. Sorry, Tommy, I know you had your hand up.
Yeah, so I just want to clear some things between all three of us. It's very interesting. Like from me to Ron, there's probably about 20 years age difference. And between Ron and Martin, there's probably about 20 years age difference. So we have a very good spectrum of the markets. And population-wise, there's not enough unicorn fart dust for everybody on Earth to own one. There's only 1 billion maximum supply. You cannot mint more.
No.
And this news out of China about their insurance policies. When that news started circulating more on the 11th of February, I'm going to switch to the gold chart real quick. Gold hit the new all-time high when that happened. Gold hit the new all-time high on February 11th. And February 11th in my Discord, unicorn fart dust was about 3.5 cents. I told everybody, I was like, okay, now we're going to go a little bit deeper. $1,000. Put $1,000 in unicorn fart dust at 3.5 to 4 cents. And then luckily this week, the positive news came out that your coin, unicorn fart dust, won the Ledger meme coin. So we went from 3.5 cents all the way up here in 13 hours, over 50% in 13 hours. That's where we are now. So it's very funny that the day that gold hit all-time high was the second best day for the accumulation of unicorn fart dust. The very interesting timing.
Let me. Can I say one quick thing about that, Tommy?
Yeah.
I will say this, and this goes along with what Martin and I were talking about. And this is not a show about unicorn fart dust, but when you look at this jug next to me, and I have 999 million, right? That we talked about the finite nature of gold and silver. And that was one of the first things that excited me about UFD was, I didn't know this was an experiment. I had to learn on the fly. And when I learned for sure that there's only 999 million tokens, period, that excited me because like gold, like silver, right, that pretty much there's a finite amount of gold and silver on the planet, whatever. There's also a finite number there. And the more people, that continue to buy, the closer we get to a shortage of sellers, I guess I would say, which would dictate, into higher prices. I'm a big believer, whether you're talking, I always called silver. I'll show one of my one. I keep a couple ounces at home, but I always called silver and gold, for that matter, the original cryptocurrencies, right? Because they're so similar in a lot of ways to a lot of the fundamental things why people love crypto are a lot of the same fundamental reasons why a lot of silver people love silver. There's a big difference in the electronic versus physical argument that we don't need to get into, but anything that's finite that has value attached to it, to me, that's the place to be because you can't print. I've tried to print silver, can't do it. I've tried to print. I'd love to be able to print gold, can't do it, right? And you can't print, unless you're, there you go. They're beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. But I love, things that are limited. I think by their definition, if there's value attributed to them, in my opinion, that's the place to be. Sorry, I took over there, Martin.
No, absolutely. It's what we've come to recognize this. I mean, we're indentured in the Western world and many outside the Western world. You're indentured to inflation. That makes people poor. Inflation is the great leveler, and it impoverishes people globally. People work to get rid of a paycheck. Some people in the world, majority of people in the world, are probably paid daily and weekly, and they have to get rid of that money, spend it on what they need for shelter and food, because it's going to be worth less in a week or two's time. How do you save money? It's impossible. The only way to build wealth is silver and gold, or a part of it. We have other options in the Western world, playing equity markets, bonds, but I think there's some big changes coming in that as well. So it's a crash and burn cycle since 1971, since Nixon took the US dollar. He broke the covenant that was made at Bretton Woods. That was broken. And all currencies to the dollar to gold, that was broken. And ever since, you and I are old enough, we're onto the scene, the boom and bust cycles, and they're severe.
Yeah.
And people suffer. And it's not just developing countries. I mean, Canadian dollar, that's a parity, then it's at 63 cents. I mean, that's
I know.
I mean, it's a crazy scenario.
Well, and you have to look at, I was born around the time that Nixon took us off the gold standard. And I've heard statistics that say the dollar versus gold since then, the dollar measured against gold, that the dollar's lost 99% or a huge percent of its value. That doesn't seem right as I'm saying that. But the thing that I like to think about is when I was a young child, that back then, my mom didn't work. My dad had a very middle class job, but we had a nice house. We had 2 cars. We went to Disney World. I went to private grade school. I went to a private high school. Like to think that the dollar and that the living. I mean, you compare that to now, a regular middle class American family with one working parent, they can barely probably afford housing and food.
You don't have to go back to this golden era of the 1950s where mother didn't work and father worked, and you had this. It went on from the 50s, the 60s, into the 70s, right through, and then changed to early 80s. It's not this. Some people think that this is this shining city on the hill, was in this decade of the 50s only, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's actually a lot longer than that. And so that is the big leveler that changes everybody. And I think it's going to be. I think that change is coming. Decentralized finance in the world is going to change this. We don't need institutions in the middle of doing transactions anymore.
Right.
And we were all under pressure. Wherever you lived in the world, you were under pressure from the SEC and their attitude towards this for the last 10 years. Hopefully that's going to change under this administration, and things will become easier to do transactions. Yeah.
And is it safe to say, because I'm kind of new to that, the big benefit that we have in this decentralized environment, but that it makes more of a fair and level playing field for people all over the world?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, I've been in the Caribbean and Central American region for 20 years. I was involved. I was on an island in the Caribbean, in the Commonwealth of Dominica, a couple of weeks after I had to go there for business. A severe hurricane here. Hurricane relief money was held up in Pershing in the system. It was being sent from Europe, the EU, and the UK sent relief money. It was being held up for KYC, AML. Are you kidding me? This is governments sending it to the government of Dominica, and it's held up. People are living in tents, and it's beating sun. There's no water. The UK Navy ship is in the harbor. There's a US Navy ship giving relief, cleaning the water, producing water. An aircraft carrier produces millions of gallons of water from seawater. And the money was held up at the banks. What? I mean, because we have to KYC. Where's this money coming from? It's called the United Kingdom. It's called the government. What? Right. I mean, so talk about an unlevel playing field. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So they're stifling that type of business. Sure, we need regulators to watch for bad actors. I'm not saying not bad actors need, but innovation, because it's new, we've got to stop it. You're treading on toes when you're taking the middleman out, especially if the middleman.
Right.
I mean, that's how we make a living. So the money's got to come from me. If Ron wants to send Martin $100, you've got to send it through me, through Tommy.
Right.
Well, Tommy needs a piece. I mean, Coinbase made the greatest ad, the pizza ad where they're chopping the pizza and pizza starts off this big, right, Tommy? And it's pizza.
Yeah.
That's a great ad. Fantastic. I love the guys at Coinbase who made those ads.
Well, Ron, thank you. I know you said you only had 20 minutes. Thank you for coming on and sharing your insight. I would love to see you make some YouTube shorts about the gold hitting a new all-time high price, because this is the perfect time in the markets to celebrate. We're getting closer to making new all-time highs, but we're already there this week, so it's pretty good timing.
Yeah. Sounds great. And thanks, Tommy. I appreciate it. Martin, it was great to meet you. Okay. Keep up the good work, and I'll look forward to hopping on here again with you guys sometime in the future. Okay.
A few of the charts.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ron. Thank you.
That's we've got to do an extended show with him. Bring some of these other gold and silver guys on, Tommy.
We had a few more people scheduled today who did not come.
Yeah, it's a Friday thing. I think there was some technical calls.
Look, YouTube, the link is right here. If you guys on YouTube see this link, you can just type this link in and join the call. I dropped the link in the YouTube chat. Please have your clothes on. I know it's Valentine's Day. Have your clothes on. I'll drop the Google call link in the chat for you guys. But yeah, the gold is doing pretty good.
That's what people are doing. They're rushing out. The people who forgot to get Valentine's Day gifts and cards, they've all bolted, and they're out in the mall now.
So I was looking at the chart today. Gold did have a major drop from $2,936 per ounce all the way down to $2,885. So this has been one of our biggest drops since the uptrend, but it did get us oversold on the RSI for the 1 hour time frame. We still have that bearish momentum picking up, but this might be us still making higher lows. When I draw this trend line, we are technically making some higher lows here for gold. And usually you see stuff like this on Friday because when options are expiring for certain stocks, people do same day expiration, gamble, and market makers can knock them out of their positions, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I think that is certainly. I thought that was at the end of the day in the UK as well. That can happen on a Friday, and we normally have a slow Saturday, obviously, and then as the Asian market comes online on Sunday for Sunday in North America, Asia comes on, and then you're going to see. I believe potentially next week it could go over 3,000 next week.
Really, 3,000 per ounce by next week. That would be very good for gold. I mean, and while this was happening, while gold was doing this today, I look at Unicorn Fart Dust. Yes, the meme coin is going up, but at the same time, what happened today, while gold was dropping, we had the Bitcoin over here. This is what Bitcoin was doing. Bitcoin was pushing up. Bitcoin was pushing. I'm in a Bitcoin short, unfortunately. I was in profits for quite a few days and earlier today, but after that last wick down, we had a big push up. So someone started buying Bitcoin as gold started dumping today. But we did clear a lot of long liquidations, a lot of short liquidations today. Maybe a bottom liquidations could get us under 93K for Bitcoin. Are you still holding some Bitcoin?
Yeah, I've got Bitcoin. I put Bitcoin away. I've still got some of my Bitcoin addresses from 2014. So
okay.
I mean, I've just had it there. It's always been very good, and I parked it away. Obviously, as I'm a lot older now than I was in 2014, like we all. So I don't want to pile in money at six figures BTC. Because obviously I was around in it when it was a couple of $100. But I mean, man, what an industry! Blockchain, decentralized ledger. I knew this the moment it was explained to me. I knew it was going to be as big as the telephone, as big as the impact on finance. We haven't even scratched the surface on the impact on finance. The DeFi aspect of it is immense. It's monstrous.
Yeah. So you highlighted you're getting older. How old are you exactly?
I'm 61 this year.
Oh, 61. I thought you were 70 something. My bad.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Tom.
No, I thought I read.
What I thought you were referring to is Ron was 20 years different. I was going to say Ron looks great for being 80 years old. I thought you meant that way, not the other way.
He's younger. He's like 54 years old.
I get it.
No, I thought you said you were 70 something in a call before. I was wrong.
No, I feel like I probably said I feel like 70 something when the market's going the other way. But when the market's going up, gold's going to hit 3,000. I feel like 50. Great.
Yeah, does it make you feel younger when you see gold just higher and higher?
And it just gives a validation to people that have always talked about the value of precious metals in a portfolio, right? I mean,
right.
Move out of speculation. I mean, I deal with people obviously similar age groups to me in their 50s and their 60s, and it's like, look, get out of speculation, get out of equities. You've got to start moving a portfolio around as you get older. Gold is a hell of a good safe haven, but it's not just a safe haven. I mean, it's look at the chart for the last 3 years. I mean,
yeah. So when I look at this gold chart as well, Bitcoin chart as well, like Bitcoin, when we put Bitcoin on something like the monthly, and you zoom out, it looks like this. It looks like it never went down, because if someone sees this, they don't see the 80% drawdowns unless they actually start measuring. Like, we had a over 80% drop down here from the last time we went to 65, 69K. People didn't realize that we came all the way back down to $15,400, which was
were you displaying the chart, or is it only you?
YouTube can see the chart. This is a Bitcoin chart that they can see.
Okay.
Same thing, like when you zoom out gold chart, it looks the same thing on a monthly and a weekly. Obviously, gold has been around a lot longer than Bitcoin. I mean, cool thing about TradingView, you can go back to like 1930s. You can go all the way back to 1933. And same thing, this is the gold chart, and it looks parabolic. It looks like it has sideways trading, but when you actually zoom in, you can see those price moves. And what people don't fail to realize, gold was going up as the US dollar was going down. But also the US dollar was going up against other world currencies. Most of this way up. So the American spending power is still like strong compared to other currencies. So I think the people that would be more beneficial to buy gold are those outside of America, if they want to retain what value they have in their money.
Absolutely, while the dollar still remains in that place. You're correct, yes, because that's where, today an ounce of gold is this at the spot. Transfer that to your currency, but if your currency is divergent from the dollar, you want to put it in gold because the benefit is far greater. Yeah, because you're diverging away from the dollar. The dollar's getting stronger, and let me put that in parentheses, as Ron explained. The dollar's getting stronger, but it's not. Its buying power is not getting stronger, but it's getting stronger against your currency. So yes, you should take your currency and then buy gold with it.
This week, our weekly candle on TradingView chart. This is the highest gold has ever been against the US dollar. Now, people in Canada, gold has already surpassed the Canadian dollar a lot, because Canadian dollar was losing value against the US dollar and other currencies.
Right, we've been hearing some stuff about the US dollar, Trump wanting to back it with gold. That would be very interesting. So we did some quick numbers on that, and some rough sketch numbers. If that was to happen, gold would be at around 125,000 an ounce.
So when I look at gold versus the Canadian dollar, we're up over 4,000 Canadian per ounce. But same day, February 11th, that's when gold really spiked in the Canadian dollar. We're down almost 3% Canadian dollar in gold, but yeah, it looks crazy.
And I think that there was some correlation with those announcements, and we're doing one of our colleagues, Richard, that joins us here sometimes, Richard Groom, is doing some correlations on those 10 insurance companies. We're going to get numbers who they are, user base, do some statistics. If 5% of the user base takes up the gold mantle, I think it'll be much higher than 5% because the Chinese love gold. And if you've got a chance to hold up to 10% of your insurance portfolio in gold, that a lot will take it. And the number, the usage, and as you've seen the charts that Richard has, you just can't increase gold production by a very large percentage year on year because the infrastructure needs to be, it takes time. You just can't ramp up production. So what happens? It's ramping up in price because it's a supply and demand issue. That will affect the price greatly. Yeah.
I pulled up the Bitcoin weekly chart against Canadian dollar. It's over 139,000 Canadian. And relatively soon, like if we do like a big retrace and then next time Bitcoin goes for new all-time highs, the chart will look like this against American dollars. I mean, Bitcoin is already millions of dollars against other fiats because over time, Bitcoin fit supply doesn't go up, whereas fiats can increase drastically. We never really have a burn mechanism for the U.S. dollar. The government never goes and says, "Okay, we're going to burn half the supply."
Yeah, yeah, that would be. And we're still working on looking at the aspect of this hallmark situation. A lot of rumors going around about gold hallmarks, and certain hallmarks may have a tariff placed on them. We haven't got any solid information on that yet. We're hearing, but there's 147 different hallmarks. I think it came up on another call, but we are looking at as many as 50 hallmarks that gold carriers may have a tariff, meaning if you were moving them globally into Europe or into US, United States, they may have a tariff put on them of up to 25%. So not all gold, if that situation happened, it would be like not all gold is created equally. Obviously, if you held that gold with a tariff hallmark, if you would sell it, you would do your homework. If I was to sell a kilo to you, you'd say, well, I want 25% off the price because I'm going to have to pay the tariff, or I'll buy that person's gold and there's no tariff on it. So it's going to get complicated if tariffs come in place on hallmarks.
You have the load has tokenized gold and
yes,
tokenized silver. But so this is very interesting to me today. Your AUX coin is at 9.89, almost 10 cents a coin. But today we noticed gold had almost 2% drop down so far from the top. So actually, the people that are holding the AUX are doing a little bit better than holding gold, unless you guys see anybody taking profits on this premium, because this is the math here. It's how much gold is one AUX?
AUX is 1 milligram.
And there's how many milligrams per ounce? Let me see. So 1 ounce is about 28,349 milligrams. So let me multiply this by 20 times 0.09892. So actually, I was wrong. The AUX is cheaper than gold. It's about 2,804 per ounce right now versus gold.
Yeah, because it trades in a band on that market.
Yep, it's about $80 spread. $80 spread, which is pretty huge. Because if someone comes in and gets the AUX and then it goes up, that covers that $80 spread per ounce. That would be about so 80 divided by 2,804. That's about 2.8%, 2.85% difference.
There's a limitation. There's a limitation in the pool. We'd have to create. We'd have to put more in the pool, and then if somebody wanted a very large amount, we wouldn't have that because we'd have to then do a purchase of gold through the bullion dealer, then to do the tokenization, because we don't buy gold with the bullion, with the AUX. the AUX has to be created from the gold that's in our possession.
Correct. But yeah,
So
that
there would be
2% spread, if it does correlate, because we already saw that on February 11th though, AUX correlated with gold very well because it hit the all-time high on the February 11th for AUX. Right. So I think over time, like you also have AGX and AUX. So AGX is about $1.10 right now. It's also 1% for the day.
That's 1 gram of silver. Mm-hmm. So that has moved up because of the price.
And silver hasn't squeezed all the way. Silver is still like making its way. If I go to the silver chart, silver price per ounce, what we see here, we're still in the 30s. People are expecting silver to go over $50 per ounce. People are expecting this thing to go over 50.
I personally think silver is a lot more controlled, a lot more manipulated than gold.
Well, a lot of industries bought silver and they need silver to continue operating.
It's industrial metal, 10,000 uses for it. It's a lot different. I mean, the major use for gold is a store of value, central banks and such like. The jewelry industry is a very small percentage of it, but silver is in reverse. Jewelry, but also industrial usage of silver is massive.
And because silver is so cheap per ounce, it's very hard to reclaim the silver that already exists in jewelry and for industrial use. A lot of machines, they will never break down those machines or computer parts because they're worth more than the silver in them. They're earning more money than the silver in them.
It's difficult to process it. There is breakthrough technology of actually, for plastics and computer and phones, some chemical processes that are being developed to break it down. But I mean, silver, for example, in a Tesla, you've got a kilogram of silver in every Tesla. So it's a lot. It's a kilogram of silver in each Tesla, which is primarily in the lithium battery.
Yeah, I'm looking at the silver chart here. When we broke this downtrend, though, the moment we broke the downtrend around $23, people got happy. And silver's already up over 40%. And I think that's why your AUX and AGX are doing well, too. I predict silver will outperform gold. And I've seen some periods in time where your AGX token has dropped when silver has done those random drops. When we had the GameStop squeeze a few years back, some hedge funds were pumping silver stocks. Silver did start pumping randomly overnight. And I think as GameStop gets closer to another squeeze, silver will make its way towards this double top above $50. And we're not far from there. We're really not far. So I just want to say, do you think that silver will increase in value at a higher percentage this year than gold?
I thought that was possible. But I'm changing a tune on that because one of the reasons is on this insurance market and just the sheer number of users in China who can be exposed to a portfolio that most people are responsible and want to get insurance. I mean, it's a very interesting business. The middle class is growing, so they want to have estate planning in place. They want to have estate planning for families, and that involves, in most cases, some form of insurance. And if that money can be payday loan style insurance, which I call payday stoppage, where a paycheck is having deducted insurance premiums from it, then it's happening anyway. So if you can self-direct the insurance portfolio and say, I want part of it to go into equities, but I want up to 10% to go into gold, I think that is going to be very popular. So that could really change the face of the gold market.
So if silver does start squeezing, I think it could squeeze because what China's doing with gold, they can copy that same as that model and do it for silver. We've seen the same thing in America. They did the gold, they did the Bitcoin ETFs a while back, and now they started doing Ethereum ETFs. They got the big XRP funds. Litecoin applied for ETF, so it's only a matter of time. That's why I like silver a little bit more than gold here. But you also have another token. You have load. And I think load it's down a lot for the year. It's down a lot for the year, but as gold and silver trading volume pick up, you get a lot more benefit. And like today, today load's down like 20%. It's very volatile. It's lower liquidity. But as gold and silver picks up, your token typically probably gets that benefit because you have a thing called an RGen, where the people that are staking load, they get a portion of some of the revenue from your model. So I think that revenue that goes into the model should theoretically increase as gold and silver volume pick up on the trading side.
Yes. Yep, that's right. And then as that you get those values being scraped off of the usage, that's exactly what would happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm just looking at the chart right now for load. I'm gonna pull that up. It's around 2.5 cents, and technically it's not load isn't backed by gold, but load is a DAO token that helps with the voting for things that you involve with digitalized gold, digitalized silver. And because load isn't backed by the gold or backed by the silver, that's why you see AGX and AUX have more liquidity and more stable. And I think a metric, if I was to trade load regularly, one of the metrics that I would use would be watching the price of AGX, watching the price of AUX, and as their trading volume is picking up, that would be a very good signal for buying load. And then also watching the gold and silver chart. So right now, even at like 2.5 cents, I'm looking at this chart. Let me take a screenshot. I think like whoever sold it down today, let me see. I think I probably would be willing to like grab some of this dip, honestly.
I think so. It's a good.
I'm just looking now, 2.5 cents. I think I would DCA add down here. Your market cap's under 20 million, so it does fit my metric. At least it's under 50 million. So I'm going to add this as well to my chart channel on Discord just for people to research. If we're at 2.5 cents, and if this thing even recovers half of what we had for like the last 7 days, that's a pretty significant move.
Yep.
So I'm going to add this in Discord as well for other people to see. And the load chart, some people don't know. So why was load $5 before? How was it $5 before and not now?
That was the split. Yeah, that was the split, which obviously the charts don't reflect. So we did a 10-to-1 forward split on the token. And that's why the price fell. Yeah.
Okay, so people that were holding load before, now their balance is like 10 times what they were holding before?
Exactly, yeah.
And that was back in like 2022? Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Whatever the split happened around 2022 to 2023. Yep. I see on the chart.
That's good.
Yeah, I wish that. So as a trader, like there's nothing in here that shows me that there's a split. I would not have guessed. Crypto doesn't update the charts like stocks do, so I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, exactly. The aggregators.
If I look up NVIDIA, like NVIDIA stock, they update the price on TradingView. They like this thing should be over $13,000 now, but they always calculate for the splits. Can you explain the aggregators and the split?
Yeah, I mean, there's it's not a consistent information flow like on TradFi, and so you've got about 16 aggregators that feed information to certain wallets. The big guys like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap need manually updating. You can't do it yourself. You have to prove that you are with the coin and you fill out information, and the forms you have to have a dedicated team on getting that information correct. And because of the internet doesn't forget anything, you can put in a search and you may get the incorrect information up. And so we've got a team working on that to get that information cleaned up and corrected. Yeah.
So crypto.
But as you say, this represents it's the governance token. It represents the whole system. And look, anything under $1 is a steal. So at these prices here, come in.
So you guys had a RGen distribution recently. I wanted to look over the RGen distribution. Do you have any of those numbers off the top of your head?
I don't hear now. No, I don't. We can do that on the next show. Obviously, as the RGM moves forward, we're going to get better average numbers out of it. But I don't have the numbers that went in there.
I just saw the video, so I'm looking at you guys had a video.
You'll notice here that for the month
the video, I'm just gonna drop that video with the chart to my chart channel for other people to watch for the bullion report. But okay. I'm looking here. It's pretty cool. You guys were transparent how the video about this. But basically, it's cool that you're doing those rewards. The rewards payout.
Yes. Yeah, that is the whole point. The system works. If we get the volume, which we expect to see, you're going to get a nice reward by holding a low token. You're going to get self-claimed rewards, and they're going to be significant. So that's the goal of this. But the proof of concept is there. The 5 smart contracts that work in unison are there, and the system's operation just needs usage and volume.
I found what I was looking for in your report. Is about $13,000 total profits for your.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, 13 and change. I remember that.
And this is your first distribution.
First distribution. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, and that's with the user base is very small. It's beta test user base really. So we get it up to some significant numbers. Get it up to 100,000. We'll be spreading up $300,000 or $400,000. I mean, you start a small average use numbers, and so you get it into markets. We want to get into larger markets like India and China, and doing this, it's going to be a phenomenal upside.
Yeah, the trading volume picks up on the Chinese side with gold, and we break that $3,000 per ounce. I think that's a critical resistance to break. People like Peter Schiff are going to be happy on Twitter. You guys are probably going to be very happy on Twitter too. This is your industry, so
yes, for sure.
I'm also predicting eventually over time we're going to break over 15,000 per ounce for gold, because there's so many things that we need gold for that we're not going to have enough gold, especially when it comes to quantum computers. Like the industrial use for gold is going to increase as we get more innovative with our technology. It's not even about the store value.
The hunger for gold from countries like China and India is incredible. I personally know people who set up a business in Dubai. They started off doing 10 kilograms a month. They do up to 1,000 kilograms. That's an increase over 3 years. 10 kilograms a month. It was their opening monthly sale. Now they're up to 1,000. They're sourcing it in Africa. The refineries are in Africa, sending the doré to be refined in the UAE, and they're all Indian buyers. Some Chinese, but they just deal with Indian buyers there, and they just can't get enough of it. The demand is incredible. Tommy, I just want to let you know I do have a call at 2.
Yes, me too. So I was gonna
little bit of preparation. I really appreciate having me on. I'll try and get some of the other team to join us, but we must have another call with Ron, because we could really dive into he's got some great background knowledge. He's been around this industry a long time.
Right. It's a good week. We made a new all-time high in gold, and that's what we're celebrating this week with this stream. I'll talk to you later into another stream. Yep. Just send me an email. Let me know your schedule. I invited like 5 people. You and Ron came. I'll try to get a few more people next time as well. And like guys in my Discord, YouTube chat, some of you guys, if you want to come on these video calls and chat with us about gold, silver, or crypto stocks, let me know. Maybe we'll do some more of these video calls specifically for crypto as well, like for Unicorn Fart Dust and everything.
Yeah, cool. Listen, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Tommy. Hope you're probably going out on a nice meal tonight with somebody, some lucky young lady. Right. Have a great weekend. Same to everybody. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for this Valentine's Day, we're going to go out nice romantic dinner, get back home, relax, chill, watch a movie, then maybe I give her my load. Who knows?
Exactly. LOD.
I mean, I'm looking at the price. It's very hard not to buy this thing on Valentine's Day at like 2.5 cents. Like this could be a funny Valentine's gift. Like
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
soon.
call. Bye.
Bye.
And then there was one. I mean, the Discord. I was on the Discord the whole time. You guys have any questions on the Discord? Hope A Sabo. Nope. Well, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to wrap up this stream. I'll restart it with the other ones with the charts, and you guys can watch those charts. And then later today, maybe tonight, we do a little bit of something fun. We'll see how this goes tonight. Thank you for watching. I will restart the YouTube stream probably 4 or 5 minutes, and then you guys can watch the Doge, Bitcoin, Solana, Unicorn Fart Dust charts. And then sometimes I filter with the BNB, a Litecoin, XRP, and Cardano. Plenty of charts for us to see. So many good trade ideas. Especially the GameStop chart trade ideas we had earlier this month, a few months ago, that actually started going into fruition yesterday. Thank you for watching. I'm Tametheark. Like and subscribe if you like this type of content.